Hey guys, this is John. I just wanted to give a sincere thank you to everyone who watched my previous video. That video announced the release of my long-awaited Scandinavian course. The course is called the Comprehensive Scandinavian, a complete repertoire based on Queen A5. This is a project that's taken me over 2 years to complete, and it's the very first course that we're offering for sale on Qa5, where I'm a co-founder. And you guys had just tremendously positive things to say. Many of you actually bought the course as well, which I'm hugely grateful for. But in general, I wanted to say thank you for all your kind words. I truly have a great support network here on this channel. Many of you guys have been watching me for years, and you've seen me play many, many Scandi games over the years. And yeah, I just wanted to express my gratitude for your viewership and support. This video is going to be kind of fun. I was thinking of ways to show you guys more about the repertoire and the Queen A5 Scandinavian in general. I was thinking about making an instructional video, but the announcement video was already fairly technical with going through the course, showing you guys everything that was in there. So I thought, why don't we just have some fun with this video? So I spent a couple hours playing on Qa5, just some 3+0 blitz games, and I got 3 games with black in the Scandinavian, all against 2,500 plus Qa5 blitz players. So all very good players. And I got to put the repertoire to the test live and talk through my thought process, talk through the move orders, typical motifs as we go. So that's what this video is going to be. 3 blitz games, 3+0, where I play the repertoire live against good players, including 1 international master. And we'll see what happens. I also analyze the games a little bit afterwards. And I want to stress, for anyone learning an opening for the first time, whether it's the Scandi, Sicilian, Nimzo Indian, whatever opening, do not be afraid to start playing games pretty quickly with the opening, okay? Don't get too bogged down in actually studying the material and get so bogged down that you actually forget to put it into practice. So I think in previous generations, that wasn't as practical as advice because it was just harder to get games, prior to the internet. But now you can log on and get games at any time, whether it's on chess.com, Lichess, or on the Qa5 platform, where we're encouraging people to practice the lines in my course against the bots. The main thing is just get games wherever you can. And then once you're done, you can cross-reference with whatever opening resource you're working through, whether it's a book, a course, maybe a YouTube video. And that constant process of studying a little bit, but not so much that you're getting overwhelmed, going and playing the lines, and then looking back at the resource later to see where you could have improved, that's the primary driver of your success and what's going to make you truly understand an opening over time. So that's, in a miniature version, what I do in these blitz games. These blitz games are further increasing my understanding of the repertoire, even lines that I've already wrote about. You can never have enough repetition and real-life practice in lines that are otherwise maybe theoretical on a page or in a course. Okay, final thing I wanted to say, this course is 50% off. We had an introductory offer through November 14th, but we're actually going to extend that a couple days, again, because of just the hugely positive feedback we've got. So you can get this course 50% off with a 30-day money-back guarantee through November 16th, which by the time I post this video should be another couple of days, 2-3 days. So if you want to pick up the course, you can do so at a very deep discount. So feel free to do that. Okay, let's check out these 3 games. They were pretty fun. So I hope you guys enjoy. And yeah, let me know if you have any questions. Okay, playing Tigra 522, 2538. This is fun, putting the repertoire into practice now that the course is out. I'm really looking forward to this. So this is one of the absolute main lines. White has a bunch of options here. Bishop c4. Yeah, and now we're going to play e6. This is actually the move order that's revived the Scandinavian with Queen a5 in the past 10 to 15 years. So we're willing to trade the dark square bishop for the knight on c3. We drop the queen back to b6. Okay, and a very early b4. Interesting decision by white. I think queen c6 is an option here, if I recall. But I could play knight c6 as usual. But queen c6 attacking these bishops, for some reason, rings a bell for me. But I'm not 100% sure, so I'm just going to castle. Yeah, let's get the king to safety. And maybe now... Yeah, let's play knight c6 now. And I'm going to meet b5 with knight e4. Okay, but white's going to try for some sort of rearrangement. Yeah, I recall I've had some blitz games with this sort of thing. Let's go bishop g4. And here we see this typical pressure of the pawn on d4 that I'm trying to bring about. Maybe white will play, yeah, c3, pretty solid. Let's go rook a to d8. And I wonder if white's going to go for g4 to try to get some of the pressure off them. They go for queen e2 instead. But now I think taking e5 is a pretty tempting option. I'm going to go for that. So fighting with the Scandinavian knights against the white bishop pair. e5, break open the center. If d5, I'll play e4. Yeah, you don't often see b4 that early, the way that white played it in this game, but it's interesting. Okay, so if I take a5 as an issue, let's play a6. a5, I'll retreat the queen to a7. And white still has this lingering issue. Okay, white plays there. But now knight a5 looks nice. Go after this undefended bishop. And if white takes and then takes the knight, they have to reckon with the capture on b2. So white retreats. All right. Let's take. And I'm going to go after this pawn on b4. Or b5, rather. Why not? Let's go take that. And then play rook b8. So, a couple scary-looking bishops, but I am up a pawn. We like that extra pawn. Let's play queen a6. Maybe c6 now. Kind of work up to maybe knight d5 at some point in the future. Rook takes d4, also on the agenda. Ooh, white really trying to force the issue here. What's the idea? So I take bishop b2. White comes back. All right. Let's go rook e6, just so I can keep my rook patrolling and maybe defend g7 better. Yeah, let's take. Let's go queen here. Attack this bishop. Marshalling my forces. Wow. Well, it's really leaning into this bishop pair, huh? Let's creep closer. Interesting position. White's trying to prove the compensation. Let's see. Maybe rook f8. I want to protect my king a little bit better, just in case I need to play f6 somewhere. Threaten checkmate. Ooh, but f6. Guess the queen can come in. It's not so clear, though. I've got queen d1. Oh, which I should have played on the previous move. It would have picked up the bishop. Okay, but it's still an idea. Oh, I had queen d1 check, though. Interesting. Oh, and white missed it. Hit the rook, hit the bishop. Okay, and white resigned. Yeah, let's take a quick look at that. So this is all in the course. And then b4, I don't recall exactly what move I had in mind against that. Yeah, queen c6. Looks like that was an option because these two bishops are undefended. Just wasn't sure what to do after queen e2, but I guess castles. Yeah, that's probably in the course. Looks like knight bd7 is also good. I castled. That's also fine. But here it recommends knight bd7 instead of knight c6, so interesting. I was actually pretty happy with how the opening played out. I thought I was developing some annoying pressure against this white pawn on d4. And here knight e5 was an option. Wow, look at that move. Taking advantage of the pin on the d-file, hitting the bishop, hitting the knight on f3. I went bishop h5. Yeah, and then took... I guess I could have done the same thing on the prior move too, now that I think about it. Take and then play knight pawn e5. So the computer's not a big fan of that. It says a4 was correct by white. Maybe white should have gone to a5. That would have been the way to follow up. I was expecting that move, trying to force the queen into the corner. And it looks like the computer prefers white here, despite their center looking a little shaky. I was hoping for something like this, but maybe this too doesn't work out so well. White has c4 at the end of the line. Okay, so yeah, I was able to defend against white's vicious-looking bishop pair here. Yeah, and I really should have played queen d1. That was available for a couple moves, actually. So right when white played rook e2, if you spotted queen d1 before I did, well done. And that's why we were exchanging double question mark moves here. Yeah, so I won't cross-reference with the course in this video. I want to keep this kind of more fun and just putting the repertoire into practice. But this way that I played, with this early bishop e4 in the trade, we're totally okay with that. And white did cramp me a little bit with the two bishops and the pawns, but as you see, this actually shouldn't be anything to write home about. Looks like this. Yeah, because then white even has to reckon with the threat of b5. We can play knight bd7 or even queen e4 if we want to force a queen trade. And black should be very solid here. So, all right. Yeah, and it looks like at the end, at the very end, when I played f6, white was winning, but they needed to address this threat of queen d1. Rook e7. Rook e7. That's the way to do it, because that threatens queen takes g7 mate, uses the knight, and then I don't have time to go pick up the bishop, right? Because I get checkmated. So rook e7 was actually winning. Okay, well, all in a 3+0 game, but very typical for this repertoire, this variation that we got in this game. Okay, Berserker Karen, 2572. I've been trying to get some Scandi games, and my rating has increased in the meantime. People haven't been playing Scandi. But okay, now we get a chance to go into this Fianchetto variation via a pretty unusual move order, actually. White playing knight f3 before g3. But I just recommend going for a standard, very reliable Scandinavian structure here. This light square restriction structure, pawns on e6, c6. I often like keeping the bishop back on e7 in this line, just to stay out of range of white's queenside knight in particular. So this is just very typical, very reliable stuff. And look at that, white makes a pretty understandable and common blunder with b4, allowing bishop takes because of that undefended rook on a1. So this is a motif that you will run into with the queen a5 material. I'm a little surprised a player at this level made it, but then again, it's blitz, and I still have to win the game. So let's not take anything for granted here. Yeah, because my queen does get into a little bit of a mess in the short term, but not one that I think should cause me any problems. I'm actually going to take this right away. And maybe knight d5. I have in mind to just try to extract my queen like this. White's probably going to avoid the knight trade, probably knight e4. Yeah. But now my queen has an out if I want. Queen a2 actually makes some sense here. I think I'm going to do that, just pin the c-pawn. Main thing now is to not fall too far behind on the clock. I'm up in exchange plus a pawn. So I just don't want white getting a time advantage out of this. Maybe work up to a5. I think a5 also would have been a reasonable move. Okay, so white goes after the b pawn. Let's play rook a to b8 for now. h4, okay. So white's just kind of chilling. Let's play h6. Just want to control this g5 square. White's throwing the kitchen sink at me on the queen side here, folks. Or on the king side, I should say. Yeah, I still have to extract that knight somehow, so it's not simple. Extract this knight, that is. So I'm going to go queen a4 now, hit this pawn. Ooh, but now I think I can take. I think taking should be good, because I attack the queen and the knight. I don't mind white taking my knight, because I'll take their knight on d6. I think white missed this move. And now they're more or less forced to take on d5, because I think if they trade queens, that's almost equivalent to resigning. But this, too, looks really bad for white. Yeah, and they just resign. I was going to play e takes d5 there for the record, most likely. And then if pawn takes h6, take with the queen, welcome further trades. Yeah, so a good example of the setup that usually comes from g3 on move 4. I advocate sticking to knight f6 followed by bishop g4 when white delays the development of the kingside knight. That's a rule throughout the comprehensive Scandinavian course. And we just saw it here with white playing knight f3 first and then g3. Yeah, pretty rare to do that. Usually white prefers to do something in the center. But the setup that I adopted here, utterly standard. For whatever reason, in these g3 setups, white often likes placing the pawn on d3 rather than d4. But you can see this is not really much that white is working with. The computer thinks maybe a quarter pawn. Not sure why my lead chess engine isn't working, but yeah, quarter pawn, maybe a half pawn if we're being very generous. But black with the setup, with the knights protecting one another, the bishop on a solid square on e7, keeping the light square bishop for now. If black parts with the bishop, it's better to part with the light square bishop than the dark square bishop, typically, because these pawns are on light squares. So we have good presence on the light squares with the light square restriction structure. But it's nice to use the dark square bishop to plug any other holes. And yeah, a really good example of this typical blunder, b4, which takes this otherwise normal position into imminently a lost one for white. Because due to the pressure on their knight and the rook behind, they're more or less forced to take. Looks like I didn't play perfect after this. Yeah, maybe a5 directly was better. Queen a2 I thought was a decent move. But it looks like I had a big advantage throughout. Yeah, I was expecting c3 here to firm this up, and then I was going to play queen b3. Still trying to entice white to play c3 because I wanted to land queen takes b4, like in the game. Yeah, and after queen takes b4, this is looking grim for white. And they resigned before I could do this, and then continue simplifying the game in this way. Always look to simplify when you're ahead in material. That should be your game plan. Okay, look, 96% accuracy. All right. So I played 2 Scandi games this session. Let's see if I can make it a third one. Okay, we're playing an IM here, 2637 Core por tu vida. Run for your life, huh? Okay, another main line, queen a5 with bishop c4 this time. Let's see if white goes for d3. No, a flexible move, knight e2. Yeah, I'm just going to play c6 here. I think bishop f5 is also okay. Sometimes white tries to play this as sort of an ambush type line. I'm really curious if they're going to push their kingside pawns aggressively. So let's go bishop g4. I think now that they've castled, they're probably a little less likely to do that. So I'm not expecting something like g4. Maybe white will go for f4, but I can prepare castling along in the meantime. Yeah, I like castling along here, getting out of this situation. Notice that the queen also helps control f5. So I think we're doing all right. a3. h5 is sometimes a good move in this situation. Try to push this knight around. So I'll try to load up for h4. Ooh, and b4. So once more, white tempts me by bishop takes b4. And I'm kind of a skeptical player by nature, so I'm definitely looking at that move. But I think I see white's point, so I'm going to retreat. I think if I took, queen takes a1, bishop d2 was the answer. Queen b2, it looked weird. My knight was kind of, or my queen rather, was sort of trapped there. So we do this instead. Let's go knight b6. And I think I'm going to pivot to d5. We've got both of our knights working here. Maybe h4, keep pushing. Yep, white puts a stop to that. I could put the bishop on h5. Knight h5 also looks kind of interesting. Let's take this, though. Go ahead and capture. Yeah, and maybe now knight d5. And if bishop e5, I'm thinking queen b6. And perhaps f6 is a little annoying for white. Let's see where that king steps. Yeah, pawn f6 might soften white's position up a bit. White steps there. Also thinking if some maneuver to f5 could work in some case. Bishop h5 first, maybe. Yeah, let's throw on bishop h5. Gotta watch my time a little bit. You guys have heard me say that before, right? No, never. Never, John. 83. This move looks very tempting. I'm going to go for it. So hit the rook, and I want to pivot to this f5 square. Just feel like the knight has potential here, even with white's knight on e4 guarding things for the moment. Okay. Queen e3, maybe? Let's do that. c5 was kind of an issue, so I don't know if I wanted to go pawn grabbing. Pre-move the capture. I hope I won't be running for my life on the clock, but it may end up being like that. Let's go f6. Now I'm anticipating c5 somewhere because white's going to want to attack that pawn on e6, no doubt. But for now, let's just play to stabilize. Interesting position. I feel like I'm still doing fairly well, but bishop takes e6 is coming at some point. King d7. Rook e2, there's knight g3. This move is still lurking. Okay, now I'm going to look to maneuver a bit, maybe like this. Bishop d8, bishop c7. I like the look of this maneuver. Also, b5, bishop a5. Some pitfalls for white. Ooh, and white missed it. They definitely missed that one. Not the end of the story, though. For sure, white's going to throw some... I can also... Yeah, let's keep the knight. Play a6. I want to see if I can clarify the queen side. Okay, let's go here. Starting to get organized, so maybe rook over, hide the king, attack d4. Sooner or later. If white sinks a knight in on d6, I wouldn't mind giving an exchange back at some point, like some sort of knight e4, bishop a3, knight d6, envisioning some big future trade. Now I might... Whoa. What's this about? Interesting. White's going all in. Well, let's sack this back and see what happens. Got a bunch of pawns. Don't have a lot of time, though. Just got to lock in at this point. And let's push this pawn. E5? I don't know. Draw, I suppose. Or is it? I'm cool with the draw. Okay. Well played. That was good defense by my opponent. I was running for my life at the end, although I guess I was up on the clock. But yeah, I'm cool with the draw. Yeah, I felt like when white played d5, that was probably a good gamble in the moment. Maybe I should not have played king e7 right away. Maybe something like rook e8 first, or... Yeah, rook e8 and then maybe king c8. Keep my king towards the queen side, because this got a little dicey when white played c6. I actually wonder what the evaluation is there. Better for black, but not a slam dunk. Not a slam dunk, certainly, in time pressure. Yeah, and then once we get here, probably drawish with the opposite color bishops. I'm pretty far away from being able to protect my queenside pawns. Okay, yeah, so otherwise, I think that was a decent showing in a fairly quiet line. We actually saw some somewhat unusual lines that white throws against you in the Queen A5 Scandinavian. But that's an interesting thing about this opening. I really don't feel like even a lot of pretty strong players like this have super specific prep in this opening. So I just more or less stuck to the script. Early c6, could have played bishop f5 or bishop g4, but c6 is fine too. Bishop g4, seeing if white would overextend with their pawns. White didn't. It would have been easy for white to do something like this, which maybe opens up for queen c5 check. Interesting that the computer doesn't think that this is half bad for white. But yeah, I just went for a typical setup, pawns on e6, c6. And when white tries to organize f4, we were ready to whisk the king away to the queen side, which takes the sting out of f5. And black is fighting here, full counterplay in this position. b4, so interesting. So bishop takes b4 was correct. But compared to that last game, yeah, I was just more concerned about this happening. But apparently this is good for black. But boy, it looks a little shaky, especially in a blitz game. My queen is somewhat stuck over there. So queen c7 looks like a decent alternative, but definitely in a longer game, I would have thought about bishop takes b4. Yeah, and then we were maneuvering. Both sides jockeying for position here. Started to feel like maybe when my knight got to f5, I was starting to get an edge. Although the computer didn't like bishop h5. Prefers the direct queen e3 or f6. So wants queen d2 by white in reply. Okay, but yeah, now knight f5 happens. I feel like this is anyone's game. Just a messy blitz game at this point. Opposite side castling. Rook takes d3 is possible. Because on c5 I can play queen d8. Yeah, I missed that my queen can reorganize this way. But truthfully, I'm not actually sure I even saw the pawn was hanging at this exact moment when white played c4. I might have seen it an instant after that, so... Yeah, and relatively balanced here. I was just sitting back. You do this a lot in the Scandinavian. You kind of sit behind the bulwarks of your position. And white ended up blundering with b5, allowing bishop a5. After which I should probably win, but you guys know how it is. Always tricky. I kind of regret a couple of the things I did on the queen side. Okay, so 3 blitz games in this queen a5 repertoire. Thank you for watching this video. Do check out that course. It's on sale for 50% off through November 16th. I'm going to keep practicing my Scandi lines. You'll probably occasionally see me post games and talk about this variation, the course. I'm always happy to play the Scandinavian from the black side, as any long-term subscribers to my channel know. And please let me know if you guys have any questions about these games, the course itself, the repertoire. I'd be happy to field those questions. And good luck to you in your Scandi games as well. So thanks as always for watching, guys, and I'll be back again soon with another video.